no.
What?
My toe kicks, they're on frickin' size on this cabinet. How the... oh, bollocks. Okay, morning. So it's been a little while since I picked up the camera and done some filming, so I thought I'd better get on with it. The main focus at the moment has been trying to get on with the cabinets. So I hate making cabinets. It's really difficult, particularly when you've got limited resources. But hopefully all of the carcasses of the cabinets are made, and we've been painting them. I have so much paint to do. I recruited mum and dad, so they did some priming for me yesterday, which was awesome. I thought I'd quickly jump into SketchUp to show you where the cabinet building all began. So, never made cabinets before in my life, and it's quite an undertaking, and you learn constantly as you go. It all started with getting the dimensions for what I needed to fit into our kitchen. So, the dimensions of the fridge, dimensions of the oven, which needs to fit into this gap here, dimensions of the heater, which needs to fit underneath between two cabinets. Knowing the dimensions of the wheel arch to know how to fit the cabinets around that. So that's the most awesome thing about SketchUp, is that you can plan everything to the nearest millimetre. So I started building the carcasses, and I chose to make those out of 12mm ply, and I'll go into my wood choice in a bit more detail later on. And then made my carcasses. I wanted to make sure that there was a toe kick, so it was like a functional kitchen. It does make a big difference just being able to step a bit closer to the cabinets when you're using them. And then I just needed to think about how many supports I needed on the top to where I was going to screw the work surface in, how I was going to attach it to the back of the van and make sure it's secure, and where I wanted drawers and cupboards and how they were going to fit around the seats. So once I'd drawn it all out, I managed to make myself a cut list so I could go away and cut all the wood that I needed, and to make sure I didn't waste any plywood, what I would do is I would draw out the pieces that I need to cut on a plywood board. So I'd do that in the most efficient way, so reduce the wastage. And then once I'd done the carcasses, I came back and did the same in terms of when I was designing my drawers and also the drawer front. And I even planned out how I was going to cut my work surface using SketchUp as well. So although this looks really messy, it was hugely helpful, and I couldn't recommend it enough. Right, so you're cutting some of the panels from the cabinets. This may be very basic to a lot of you, but definitely new learning for me. So when you cut, and to make sure that what you measure is exactly what you cut, you need to take into account the thickness of the blade. So whichever side you're keeping, you want to make sure that the thickness of the blade sits far side of the line that you draw, otherwise you're always going to be 2 or 3mm out, which just will not work if you're making exact pieces for cabinets. And then to get a completely straight line, best way to do it is measure the distance from the blade of your circle saw to here, and then the line that you mark that you want to cut, measure that distance, make another mark and another mark, and then you can put a straight edge, any straight edge down and clamp it. For the big 8-foot boards, I've just got a really long bit of wood which I screw into the wood to keep it straight all the way. And then for the shorter boards, you can prop up with a Celotex cutting mat, which completely worth sacrificing a mat to cut on because it supports the wood really well. And then you can use clamps if you raise it up, and then just push it straight like that. So, then up in the jibber jabber room, we should probably get off. Yeah, this is our mini cabinet, which is going to sit just beneath the oven, and then we'll have a big drawer. I'm going to glue it and maybe put the odd screw in, I don't know. But if you see, I just routed out using the 12mm router bit the tops. So then the top fits on really nicely. And then routed out a 12mm gap for the base to sit in. So hopefully it should be nice and strong. And then handy little tool that. Definitely, I don't know whether it's a bit too bright to be honest, but the veneer is on, and I think it looks pretty good actually. Definitely no voids from the plywood, so once it's all painted up, I think it'll be pretty good. I went over with some 240 grit sandpaper just to make it nice and smooth. Just being careful not to go through the veneer because it is pretty thin. I'll quickly show you cabinets. This cabinet holds the fridge. So I'll just use the router to make a groove in the back here and then put these in, so they're really solid. And then at the back here you can see some holes. That's for an extra vent so the fridge can vent properly. This is for the gas solenoid and then the water pump switch. Then we've made sure to put a toe kick in, and then the gap underneath here is 65mm so we can get run some Truma heating pipes underneath it all. And then you've got the supports of the work surface. So I had big debates about what to make the cabinets out of. I want to keep things as light as possible because it's in a van. So I went with 12mm ply. And then the debate was birch ply or just normal hardwood ply. These were made out of hardwood ply just because I had them. But the wood tends to bow slightly more, and then there's also voids in them. So what I did is I put a veneer over the front of them, an iron-on veneer, which can sand down, so then when that's recoated and painted, it looks really smooth. So that one was a reasonably easy cabinet to make. This monstrosity was a flipping nightmare because I need to house the heater and all the gas pipe work underneath, and then also cut out a hole for a big vent, and then also the sink goes on the top here. So it was just working out a way to make this super strong and light. And for this I used 12mm birch ply, and it's just so much nicer to work with, but it is definitely a bit heavier. The unit here, which will have the second half of the sink in. No.
What?
My toe kicks, they're on frickin' size on this cabinet. How the... oh, bollocks. How have I done that? No!
Whoops.
Oh, what a... that is a disaster. Well, it's not really Chris, is it? A little bit of cutting and sanding and some painting and we're all good. Just shows that the best SketchUp plan in the world and you still make mistakes. But you just got to crack on, haven't you? Thanks for watching so much. Next video we'll show you how we made the shaker door fronts and cabinet fronts, and the kitchen is starting to look pretty sweet. Cheers guys!